All right, guys, this drill, I'm not going to have a demonstration, although I might edit it to have one later. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I have to have my kids like in a cage or on a field actively hitting in order to show you a demonstration of this drill, okay? Because it's a full swing drill. It's not a two-work drill. So I'm not doing it into a net, okay? But it's one of the best ones that I have ever found and that I received as a player growing up from my coaches, okay, to help pick up the ball early. I mean, honestly, I think kids struggle with this at every age group. I really do. I think you're going to have high schoolers who aren't good at this. I think part of the problem is not a lot of coaches cover this. Okay, this is a more high level coaching concept. So if you have coaches that maybe didn't play at a high level, they might not know the fine details of this kind of stuff, guys. So it's really important to understand that one of the best things that we can do as a hitter is train our eye to pick up the ball quickly. Okay? The longer that we can track a ball in, the better chance we have to do all the calculations that we need to in our head, right, and in our iris, and being able to pick, I guess the iris is the color part, huh? Whatever. Our eyes and our head have to run a bunch of calculations of where this pitch is going to be. And the longer stretch that we have to do that, the better off we're going to be. Okay, the more accurate those calculations will be for our brain. Okay, so here's the deal. A couple things. One is I find a lot of kids, certainly at my age group, I mean, my kids are 10U, okay? They've had one season. They've had one season of kid pitch, okay? We did rec all the way through 9U. We're now going to travel with 10U. But rec 9U was the first time they faced live pitching, okay? Not from a coach, right? From a player. So they have no idea what they're doing. They're just going up there and looking at this big figure of a pitcher and going, okay, throw me the ball. I'll try to hit it. Like, there's no plate approach. There's no idea of how to find that ball, how to pick it up early, how to track it. Okay, it's a total gamble up there. So one thing that I did with my players to introduce this concept, and what I would recommend for players of all ages, including the older age groups, is two things, okay? One, when they get up to the plate and the pitcher's out there on the mound, they're not just looking at the pitcher in general, okay? We're not making eye contact with the pitcher. We're not looking at his torso, okay? We're not just like looking at the whole field in general, okay? What we should be focused on, and what a lot of the MLB greats will tell you if you look at some of their videos, is that we should be looking at the emblem on their hat. Okay? So I have in the past suggested kids just look in this box above the right shoulder or the left shoulder if it's a lefty. But I actually find the emblem of the hat to be much more effective because this box there's nothing there. So there's no depth perception there when you're looking at it as a batter. It's going back to center field. So your eyes, if you focus on this box, this empty space right here, will have depth perception to the outfield, right? Because that's what it sees in this box at first. And then when the hand suddenly appears in this box, it's got to change its depth perception to pick up the hand and the ball. So in my opinion, it's not as effective, okay? If you look at the emblem on the hat, and they go to pitch, okay, you're looking at the emblem, and they come here, right next to the emblem will be the hand and the ball. It's real easy to shift your eyes like an inch over and pick up the ball right from the shoulder, okay? So that's number one. Number one is when you're up there as a hitter, if you want to give the pitcher some intimidating eye contact when you first step up to the plate and be like, listen, I've worked harder than you, I'm going to beat you right here, that's fine. As soon as the windup starts, then you start looking right here at the emblem, okay? And you stay there, and your eyes stay focused there until you see the white of the ball, okay? Now, that's step one, teaching the kids where to look. Step two is teaching them how to pick up the ball early and to focus on it as it's coming at them, okay? So what I do is I color dot my balls, okay? I have blue. I do this with Sharpie. If you know a better way, man, tell me. I'm open. I thought about paint, but I thought it would change the surface of the ball too much. So I got blue, I got green, and I have red, which I have learned for some reason the red quickly fades, okay? So I kind of maybe twice a season will go back over these to make them fresh again. I will also say it helps if you use newer balls. Okay, these were new when I marked them. They've gotten worn a little bit, but they're quite white. If you use real gray, real brown old balls, the color is going to be a lot harder to find, okay, for the kids. So red, green, and blue. And I do this, I like these colors. They do come in, you know, Sharpie comes in these colors, so that helps. But also the red is kind of very different than these two, right? So it becomes easier to pick up faster. Differing from green and blue as they're coming at you, it's a little bit more advanced, okay? So you can actually kind of actively see your kids' progress as they're going through this, okay? So here's what I'll do. I'll start, if my kids are just learning this, I'll start with front toss, okay? And I'll get a net, I'll set a net up, they'll be at home plate, I'll be, you know, 10, 15, I don't know, 15 feet out maybe, and I'll underhand toss, okay? And they're just tracking this underhand toss. It's going to be rotating some, but it's a short distance, it's not being thrown super hard, so it's not rotating super fast, and they're going to learn how to pick it up. And what they'll do is, again, when they're first starting, sometimes I'll start with them not swinging and just yelling at the colors. They're just tracking it in. Okay? Red, blue, okay? As they get better and they get accurate with that, then it's time to hit. So what they'll do is they'll swing, red, blue, okay? They hit, then they tell the color, okay? Now, we start with front toss so that it's easier, okay? As the kids get better, and this happens pretty quickly in my experience, you go to live pitching. Okay, now I have a bucket full of color-coded balls. Only these 3 colors. There's probably, man, I'm not gonna do the math right now. 12 or so of each ball, maybe. Might have like 36 balls, maybe more. 12 or so of each ball, so they don't know which one's coming. Sometimes it's 2 blues in a row. Sometimes it's red and then green and then blue and then green and then, you know, like back to blue. Like, who knows? I'm just picking them up. I'm hiding them in my glove when I'm pitching, when I'm doing BP. I'm looking at them so I know what the color is, so I know if they're right or wrong. Okay, and then we full-blown pitch. Okay, and you can speed it up too. You can pitch harder. Okay, and see how hard you're able to go with them still picking up the color of the ball and still being able to hit it. Okay, now it's important that the kids aren't trying to yell the color while they're swinging. We don't want to take away from the swing. So they're swinging, they're fully hitting. When they get done, they tell me the color. Okay, this is awesome. And I'm telling you, this is one of the drills, probably more than anything else, that you will see a tangible, noticeable difference and growth in the kids the more that they do this. When they first start, man, and they're first introduced to this, if they've never worked on ball tracking before, it's real rough. It's humbling for them. They go, ooh, I don't see the ball very well. And then you do this for a few practices, for a few weeks. You know, you work this into your drills, and you work this into your live hitting, your BP. Man, they get good. They get good, and they get to be close to 100%, you know? So this is a great one. And obviously, as the kids get older, this can then translate to identifying pitches, okay? At 10U, hopefully, I'm sure they're out there for the coaches that are not caring about their kids' arms. I'm sure there's kids that throw curveballs at 10, unfortunately. I will never recommend that. You're doing your child and your player a huge disservice by wrecking their arm too early, okay? But as they get older and it becomes more okay for them to have off-speed pitches, this is a great one to start training them to look at the ball, to look at the spin, to really find that color so they can start tracking spins, they can start tracking the release point of the hand to see whether it's a fastball, curveball, start picking it up much earlier, okay? So that's it. That's a color ID drill. I actually haven't seen many people do this. I used to do it as a kid. I had some very, very high-level coaches. I'm talking Hall of Fame coaches who played in the MLB and then became Hall of Fame college coaches. They're awesome, okay? And this is their kind of drill. So it's a good one. I don't see it very often, but I feel like parents and players and coaches are all very impressed, maybe is not the right word, intrigued, maybe impressed, I don't know, whenever I pull this one out and they go, oh, that's a high-level smart drill. So highly recommend you use it in your practices too. And like I said, start at soft toss, move to live pitching, and watch the kids get better and better at picking up the ball And hopefully you'll see it translate to games too, where you're like, man, they're seeing the ball a lot better. Well, you're training to, so good job.